We started cruising 20 years ago, and one of the first things we did when we started was find every cruiser who had cruised more than us, and at that point that was everyone, and said, "What's your favorite cruise?" We've continued that process until today. Every time we step on a ship, when we find a veteran cruiser, we say, "Where's your favorite place to go?" The most common answer that we get, year in and year out, is Alaska. But the second most common answer is Panama Canal. So this year we went. In this video I'm going to show you the canal, the options you have for seeing it, the ship, the trip, and our evaluation. Let's get to it. Welcome back to My Travel Window, where our goal is to help you travel as well as you can for as long as you can. Today we're going to help you make the best of a Panama Canal cruise. Before we explain how we took the trip, you need to understand just a little bit of what the canal looks like. As you can see in this illustration, you're crossing the entire country of Panama. It takes from before sunrise until about 5 o'clock in the afternoon to make it across. You're going up a series of locks from one ocean, crossing the country, then going down a series of locks back to the ocean on the other side. Now, it's not because the two oceans are a different height. So why the locks? It's because of the tides of the two oceans. If there was just a straight path cut through it, like the Suez Canal, and like the canal was planned by the French before the Americans came in and redid the plan, the passage would constantly fill with silt because the tides would bring in sand from one side and then the other side back and forth. You would have currents flowing one way and then the other way through the middle, and it would be impossible, first of all, to have dug it in the first place and to maintain it and keep it open. So what they've done is created an artificial lake called Gatun Lake in the middle that is higher than both sides. And you come up to the lake, and while on the lake, you're sailing across fresh water to the other side and down. So that's the basics of the Panama Canal. Now, having said that, there's two kinds of Panama Canal crossings. The full transit often takes 2 weeks or more, and you'll sail into the canal on one side and sail out of it on the other. In our case, we came in from the Pacific and came out on the Caribbean or Atlantic side. And these typically go back and forth between Florida and California as your starting and ending points. Partial transits, on the other hand, just enter from one side, typically the Caribbean side. They come through the locks, up to the lake, sail around the lake, and then go back out. The advantage of this approach is that they're typically shorter cruises, and you can have the experience without having all of the trip that it takes to get through the entire canal. So now within the canal, there's also two types of locks. The ship that you'll take will determine which of those two locks you're going to use. When the canal was originally built over 100 years ago, each of the two lanes, there are ships going two at a time through the canal, so each of the two lanes are 110 feet wide and 1,000 feet long. And that would accommodate most of the ships of the time. But as ships have gotten larger, more and more ships have had to skip the canal, so 8 years ago they finished adding a new lane, if you will, a third lane, with a set of locks that are significantly wider, longer, and deeper than the original. Any cruise ship now can traverse the new locks. Many cruise ships now come through that would not have been able to come through before, but only the smallest ships are able to traverse the historic locks. These ships are called Panamax ships. So, of the ships in the Princess fleet, only 2 of them are Panamax ships. The Coral Princess is the smaller of those 2. It was specifically designed to transit the Panama Canal. In fact, it claims to have done more transits of the canal than any other cruise ship on any line. So our cruise was a full transit through the historic locks, starting in Los Angeles, ending in Fort Lauderdale 16 days later. So now you can see that asking someone about a Panama Canal cruise is sort of like asking someone what their order was at Starbucks. At Starbucks, the order may be a hot, venti, decaf, coconut latte with soy milk and extra foam. But For a Panama Canal cruise, what you can have is a full transit Coral Princess 60-day historic locks cruise west to east. And that's what we're going to tell you about in the rest of the video. We're going to do three things. We're going to tell you about the ship, the trip, and our evaluation of exactly what it was like. We were concerned when we got on this ship, how can you take a ship that has 2,000 passengers and have the same kinds of experiences and venues that a ship that has 3,600 passengers, for example? And do they have the same eating venues? Do they have the same ambiance? The answer is, surprisingly, yes. It's like they took the original ship and they stuck it in the dryer and shrunk it. But it's still a Princess ship. Here's some of the ways that they did it. Most Princess ships have 3 standard dining rooms. The Coral Princess has 2. They have one that's for fixed dining times and reservations, and another one that's for open seating. Alfredo's Pizza is a very popular standalone location on other ships. Here, what they did is took Alfredo's, folded it into the Italian restaurant, and the pizza is only available on certain dates and times. The Piazza is simply shrunk. It's a fraction of the size as it is on other ships, as you can see here. Other places that are significantly smaller, the spa, the casino, most of the other standard venues. The International Cafe still offers 24-hour food and coffee and doesn't appear to be any smaller, but it's too large to be located within the Piazza now. So it's down the hall, nestled between the Piazza and Princess Life. Having said all that, I was amazed at the things they found room for, even when some larger ships sometimes don't, such as a really nice game room, a library, a cigar lounge, an internet cafe. There's a remarkable number of lounges that are capable of seating 100 or more people, a couple of them with a dance floor. The size does make for some interesting situations, however. One night we were waiting for dinner, waiting for the restaurant to open, and we just realized that we were within 50 feet of an elevator, the excursion desk, guest services, the Piazza dance floor, and more importantly, a band in the corner of the Piazza, which was belting out rock and roll louder than we would appreciate at the time. But you know what? Overall, it worked surprisingly well. In fact, despite its 24-year-old age, the smaller size of this ship made this actually one of my favorite Princess cruise ships. The food was as good as any Princess ship we've ever been on, and that's a compliment. The buffet was certainly more compact than others, as you can see here. But the assortment and the quality was good. We dined typically in the main dining room for breakfast and dinner on most days. And we never had a meal that we didn't like and didn't see a significant amount of repetition even after 16 days at sea. Now, we've tried Princess specialty dining on other ships. We didn't on this one because the price isn't worth it to us. We like them, but we would rather spend our money on excursions and other things. So we did use lunches to explore the full range of complimentary venues. We tried the salty dog. It was good, although it was prepared to order and service was a little bit slow. The pizzeria was good, but it had a limited selection. I was delighted to find I could get ice cream cones with real ice cream in the ice cream section, and milkshakes, which I found really pleasing. Service was always good. Overall, I'd give the food a solid A. The ship has an open air pool and a covered pool. Movies under the stars were spectacular. We did it twice. The entertainment was also of good quality. There were no massive Hollywood productions, as you might guess. But the nightly performances, particularly the musicians, was quite good. The house band in particular was excellent. They had one night that was hard rock, which we didn't care for, but all of the rest of the nights were really good. Let's talk about the itinerary. This is not a port-intensive cruise. We had 6 port stops in 16 days. 3 in Mexico, 1 each in Costa Rica, Panama, and Aruba. The 3 Mexico stops were very different. Puerto Vallarta is a larger established port with much to do. We particularly enjoyed strolling through the town. After Puerto Vallarta, we had another sea day before arriving at Huatulco, our second Mexican port. 3 of us decided to tour the area together, and we found a van that agreed to take us to the major points of interest, leaving us at the church in town. From there, we took a taxi back to the ship. Total cost, $35 for all 3 of us. Puerto Chiapas has access to some Mayan ruins. Now that didn't interest us, but our traveling companions were interested, and so they went. The ruins were interesting, but they found there should be some logistics on that day, including a portion of it being closed that they were looking forward to seeing. So you need to check out reviews and check out schedules before you book that one. Make sure that's something you want to do. When we got to Costa Rica, we did the crocodile boat ride. I recommend it. It's well run. We enjoyed it immensely. And I was also surprised at the reasonably comfortable temperatures, and I was expecting to have severe bug issues, and we bought bug spray and didn't use it. So I was surprised. Once again, it would take a sea day for us to make our way from Costa Rica down to Panama City. Our favorite tour was in Panama, where we took the train from one side to the other, and we had a preview of the new locks before taking a bus ride back. The 1930s vintage train car was a heck of a lot of fun. The actual day cruising the canal is unlike any other day that you will ever have in your cruising experience. There is something to see for every part of the 50-mile journey across Panama. Our last stop was at Aruba. If you enjoy a day of sand and surf, you'll probably really enjoy this. We elected to bypass that and see the highlights of the island in a van. Our highlight for us was the aloe farm. From there, they worked hard to come up with other things for us to see. An abandoned gold mine that was posted with "Do Not Enter" signs, so you take pictures from outside. A massive arch that's now fallen, a tiny church that would have been overlooked in other places. But it was all new, and it was different, and it was a horizon expanding experience, and it was interesting to see the combination of the Caribbean culture and the Dutch culture come together. The Coral Princess is a perfect ship for this cruise, and I would encourage you to take it if you can. The crew is awesome, the ship is great, and the final 3 days at sea just proved how good it was. Okay, it's time for the evaluation. Did we enjoy our Panama Canal cruise? Bottom line, absolutely. It was wonderful. And would we do the Coral Princess and the full transit and all those things? Absolutely, well, without question. Will we do this cruise again? Probably not. This is the kind of cruise that I think is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of experience. There's so many places we want to see in so little time, and 16 days is a lot of time to spend. We could take 16 days exploring places that we have never been. If you're interested in an Alaska cruise, check out this one. Until next time, safe travels. Welcome back to my travel window, where we help you travel as long as Welcome back to my travel window.